We are live. Welcome to SEO news of week 2, which is last week's, where we go through the news from last week. My name is Frederik Drost, work at Precies Digital, and this is my co-host Linus, who also works at Precies Digital. Thank you for joining. And you actually have the first piece of news, so let it rip.
I do. I don't know if you're sharing your screen currently and showing the news, but it's something I added in. We talked about it beforehand, but Reddit is like still early days to see this. I think someone first noticed this on January 9th, I think. But Reddit is experiencing a drop in visibility currently in the Google SERP with the current data in Ahrefs. We had checked, I think, around lunchtime today for our time. It was a 19% drop in organic traffic month over month. And it's very interesting just because Reddit is having a deal with Google to show up more often and to be visible. And I don't know if this could be then a showcase of like AIOs taking more precedence, something that's mentioned in the linked article, or I don't know, it could just be like fluctuating movement as well, or they're just something you mentioned like we don't want Reddit is great for movies or books, but
Yeah, not
maybe
important. not
don't
life or
want
death queries.
medical exactly don't want medical advice from Reddit, and maybe that's something they're like really starting to or trying to fix in a bigger
Yeah, I
reach.
think I'm not sure now. You bring this up and you actually put me in a spot here because I thought Google had a deal with Reddit had a deal with Google to sell information, so sell data. Not sure
Right.
that entails ranking. If there was evidence of Reddit and Google signing up to get more visibility, I think that you can't do. But what you can do is sell them data they can then use for their SERPs. They don't have to crawl Reddit anymore. They can just serve it directly from the data they get. So and also train LLMs on it, etc. So I thought that was the deal behind the table that was going
No,
on.
but that's probably true.
Now, funnily enough, when they did sign that deal, yes, they did see an increase. But I
Yeah,
guess we can insinuate, or you can allegedly, because
yeah, yeah.
otherwise we're going to get sued at this point. But you're completely right, and maybe I think they might be fixing that. So again, I think it's Google just knows what's wrong. How do the question also comes up if we're looking at these tools, how would they can track AI overviews, but are they then putting that into account when looking at organic traffic, or are they still measuring it the old way? That's the question. I don't think the tools
Yeah.
have adapted fast enough. I think this is actually a true visibility drop. That's my opinion. I don't think the tools have caught up to integrate AI overviews as a metric yet, but I might be wrong. SEMrush,
Yeah.
Ahrefs, reach out if I'm wrong. Correct me. But yeah, great. Thank you. And very interesting. Yeah, we keep following Reddit now because it's an interesting website. Next up here, we have an unconfirmed local ranking update or bugs, people are saying here. So again, this is actually what's interesting here is there's not a lot of tools who do a lot of local ranking tracking and not very well. So the data is hard to get. So Barry Schwartz basically said this is from people on forums and what he's hearing, saying that there's a lot of changes in ranking because you can manually check these things and people reported issues. And I know in end of December there was some issues with the maps, some bugs, and now we're seeing some changes. So again, Google might also be just updating some local ranking algorithms, but they don't really confirm those on Twitter or something. So yeah, I think we're probably going to end up being in an era where Google never confirms. It'll be smaller updates continuously. It might be a marketing stunt to have these updates scare people. I don't know, but we'll see. Next up, Google's John Mueller says using generative AI to create blog posts and content to get backlinks, it's almost certainly against Google spam policies. Uh, Again, so is it okay to create blog posts for traffic but not backlinks? Don't you want traffic and backlinks? Like, it's and how are they checking this? Really is the question, right? Do you have any thoughts on this? Because again, we tell our clients not to just publish AI content. We use AI to make the process more efficient, but we don't just publish AI content.
I don't think there's any way they can check this. I guess maybe if if you're writing it with Gemini, then they maybe could have some kind of like backwards engineering thing where they could know if it's like from Gemini, because they could see some of the patterns maybe. But even that seems incredibly far-fetched.
I think that you can identify AI content. I think that's pretty possible because it is very deterministic. So I think that's not the issue here now. If I take AI content and rewrite it and change it in my fashion, or it's my thoughts that are just being rewritten by AI, that's the danger here. Is I feel, oh, we can identify AI content, okay, because it's deterministic. So the question is now, I sometimes write my post on my own website in my own voice. I write them down and then I get AI to rewrite it. It's still my unique thoughts and experience. It has all the EAT it should have, but is Google going to identify that as AI content? Although it's technically my content, it's just being rewritten. That's the thing as well that's interesting. I think we should just be careful. And also just strong EAT signals. And EAT signals means not just faking EAT signals, it's actually making the content EAT friendly. Let's just keep it safe. We're white hat 100%, so let's just keep being white hat.
Yeah, 100%.
But now I like to include these links if people are asking. Clients are like, we could just publish 100 posts a day. Send them these links. There's tons of these here. This is a great way to kind of give them confidence. This is a person at Google. It's not nobody. Here's an interesting one for you, Linus. Page annotations in Google iOS app browser. Do you know what that is? I didn't know this existed.
No.
So it's basically in the iOS app browser, you can browse, you can Google something, whatever, you browse a website, and what Google does is it changes the content and adds internal links, or external technically links in that content, going back to search results. So it's taking you away from the website. And people are saying, listen, you're already taking a lot of my clicks away with your snippets and AI overviews, and now you're also, for the few people who actually end up on my site, you're directing them back to the SERPs with links. Like, people are really not happy about this. And I think the important thing here is to mention there's a way to opt out of this. So if we know we get a lot of, iOS traffic, etc., this is probably just worth opting out on, because it sounds like a bad thing, honestly. So maybe something we just send around to all clients, like, hey, do you know this exists? Just opt out. It seems a bit weird. So yeah, Google just really.
I think this was created from a good point, though. Like, I think that the user experience is quite good. Like, because in the article, like the example of, like, if you mention Osaka Castle in the content, then like just having it, like having the directions very close by, does seem to me like good user experience. But like from a site owner's perspective, it's a nightmare. So
well, I see what you're saying here. The problem for me is if I am seeing Osaka Castle, okay, I might open a new browser window and search for that. And again, that might not be a best user case, but whatever happens, or I mention it. But if I see a link, I'm like, oh, I want to learn more. And then you get sucked into a hole and you forget to convert completely, or whatever it is you need to be doing on the page, you're getting directed away from it. So maybe it's not everyone should opt out. But if people have seen some weird bounces and people leaving, this could be a way to kind of mitigate that. So I think it's just worth noting. I think it's good to share. Maybe look into some GA data before taking decisions and talks. But yeah, I mean, Google will do things for user experience because they want to make more money. And if Google can make more money at the cost of websites, they will. They will make that choice. Don't believe that they're here to help them. I think that's the lesson from today's video. Don't trust mega corporations, even though their slogan is "Don't be evil." Just be slightly bad.
But fun fact, it's not even that's not even their slogan anymore.
Oh, they changed it. What is it now?
I don't know, but the irony is not lost that it used to be "Don't be evil," and then they removed it because they were doing evil stuff.
I'm Googling now. I know you can't see the screen, but I'm not gonna. Oh, Google's current slogan is "Do the right thing." Oh, see, because that's nuanced. Sorry, we're not even talking SEO here, but this is very nuanced in the sense that we're doing the right thing for us. The right thing is hard to define. Evil is easy to define, I think. So, wow, that's really smart. God damn you. All right, well, we learned that today. Next up here,
Google's going into the show notes.
Exactly. And this is, this one is actually This one is really, really good. So Google Search Console adds a 24-hour export to the, 24-hour view. So you get an export, you get the 24-hour view. Again, I'm just going to show people what that means here. I have my own website. Let's see, where are you? And if we go into search results, performance, we can see 24 hours, and we get export here. We get the 24 hours. So it looks like the data lag. Today we're Monday, January the 13th, and the last data is this morning, 6 to 7 a.m. So very nice. There's even some predictions. Wait. Anyway, this is great for site migrations. We've had that two-day data lag, so we don't really know what's going on. Not very nice. So this is a great thing. I like it. We'll be using that definitely. Thank you, Google. And then just an interesting article / guide about soft skills and how they can help getting SEO buy-ins from clients. We're talking empathy. We're talking a lot of things here. Yeah, this could work for anything else than SEO, I think, but we might have a harder time than some. The effects of SEO is harder to sell. It's long term, so having these soft skills definitely an advantage. Do you have any opinion on that? Did you read through this?
I haven't read through this yet, but I also agree. Like, especially like, which I would imagine the article is about, like in SEO, when you're juggling so many different kinds of verticals at once, then you really do need a lot of good soft skills to be able to handle different kinds of needs and different kinds of people, etc. So I really agree with that.
True. Yeah, I sometimes talk to CMOs, CEOs, and then I talk to devs, and that's completely different personalities. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anyway, have a read. This is interesting. Another very good guide here on the Pareto principle in SEO explained, and a few cases. The simple version of Pareto principle is 80-20, and to simplify it even worse, you can take most big websites. 80% of the traffic comes from 20% of the URLs. 80% of all money is owned by 20% of people in the world. That's just how it is. We see this with craters on the moon. We see this with flowers, and yeah, it's pretty naturalistic law. Have a read, interesting guide, and apply it. One thing that I took away from this article is they also apply it to prioritization of tasks. So if you have your technical tasks, all the SEO tasks, we need to define the 20%. And then focus on those. And when we're done with those, then we can actually create a new Pareto principle with the remaining 80 and continuously, almost infinitely at this point, right? So it's an interesting, not just it's for workload, but also for just, it's a good thing to have in mind always. Last but not least, we have a small guide on optimizing B2B sites for LLMs and SearchGPT. We have a very good internal guide at Precis Digital. I'm not going to share that here. It's a proprietary information. There's a lot of other guides out there, and they mention the same things, right? Just top-level structured data, contextual content, answering questions shortly, briefly. There's a bunch of things. This one takes it a little bit more detailed into B2B sites. It's mostly the same here, and it's still a very nascent field. So yeah, we can deliver those kind of optimizations for LLMs. We can actually do that for our clients now. But again, we have to really continue and evolve that process because it changes a lot based on studies, data. All right, that was it. Not too many news, but that's okay. We kept it short. Thank you for joining, Linus. And I'll see everyone else on the other side.